The Harry Chapman broadcast story began the same year that Elvis topped the charts with this.
Well, since my baby left me, well, I found a new place to dwell. Well, it's down at the end of Lonely Street, that Heartbreak Hotel.
It was 1956, and while Elvis was rocking America, Harry Chapman was rolling across the airwaves in Albuquerque, New Mexico. AM radio was hot, and so was Harry Chapman. After several years in the desert heat, a cooler climate and a bigger market came calling. So Harry took his show to Birmingham and took over afternoons at WYDE. But it was Memphis that Harry truly hit his stride, doing afternoons at WMPS.
Back to music on the Harry Chapman Show this Tuesday morning with a new one called Candy Girl. Good morning to you, WMPS time in 2 minutes after.
Then in 1964, Harry went across town to join the staff of WHBQ and worked on the same frequency as future Hall of Famers George Klein, Wake Martindale, and Jack Farnell. Harry had the gift of gab and also the gift of sales. He was the first one ever to bring a sold-out standing room-only concert to the Memphis Coliseum. The group, the Dave Clark Five.
We will yell with all of our might, catch us if you can, catch us if you can.
Chapman also made a name for himself promoting other Memphis bands, from regional hits to national stars like Booker T and the MGs, the Bar-Kays, Charlie Rich, and Carla Thomas, among others. Harry Chapman was also the founding president of the Memphis Mensa Society. Smart guy? Oh yeah, you bet. And now he's a member of the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame. If the name Medley sounds familiar, well, it should. Warren Medley is yet another member of that Middle Tennessee family to be inducted into the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame. Back in 1956, when Eisenhower was president, Warren Medley began a part-time job at his hometown station, WDKN in Dixon. Through parts of 7 decades, 11 U.S. presidents, 5 ownership changes, and 4 studio locations, Medley became the iconic face and voice of hometown broadcasting in Dixon County.
And about the old Tennessee Valley Furniture Company here, my good friend Ed Moore owned one of those.
After that first Saturday Sidelights program, Warren's involvement in the station and community continued to grow. He did community happenings, breaking news, and even sporting events at Dixon's African American School. And you've got to remember, this was when segregation was at its peak. He was welcomed with open arms. Even though Warren's 58-year radio career was part-time, he was a full-time fixture in and around Dixon. We could tell you he was a founding member of the Dixon County Industrial Park. We could tell you he has roads in Dixon named in his honor. We could tell you he had more celebrities passing through to speak to the local kids, like Football Hall of Famer Johnny Unitas, among others. But we will tell you everything Warren Medley did for Dixon over his 58-year part-time radio career, he did from the heart. And our hearts are happy that now he's a member of the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame. Dave Overton was 14 years old when he auditioned for a part-time job in his hometown of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. He got the job, and a radio career was born. Something of a child prodigy, Dave entered the University of Alabama when he was only 15 years old, and he continued his part-time job at WJRD. Even through World War II, Dave continued working in radio for the armed forces, and then returned to Alabama and began announcing football for the Crimson Tide. In 1949, Dave moved the family to Nashville and went to work at WSM, a career move that included the Waking Crew, the 5 o'clock hop, and the Grand Ole Opry.
Yes, friends, it's the Jameson Grand Ole Opry, a wonderful half hour of the best country music by your favorite Grand Ole Opry stars. Brought to you by Jameson since 1883, builders of better bedding and furniture. Tonight we have a great show on this half hour of the Grand Ole Opry, but first let me introduce the man.
Not only did Dave announce the Opry, he also hired future Opry announcer and Hall of Famer Keith Bilbrey.
Hi, this is Keith Bilbrey, Dave Overton. When I was a kid growing up, he was the ultimate. He's who I wanted to be someday. I would watch him on the 5 o'clock hop. He did the weather, the news, anything at Channel 4 to be done, he did. He was on WSM radio. He was a Grand Ole Opry announcer, and he definitely was my hero. I remember Dave came to my high school one time, and I got to run sound, and I thought, boy, this will be on my resume forever. That began a wonderful relationship with a wonderful man. He taught me so much about this business, and I am so thrilled that he's being inducted into the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame. Much deserved, and it's about time. Love, Dave Overton.
Dave Overton passed away doing what he loved best, still working full-time for WSM in 1980. Aaron Robinson was also a child prodigy, and his gift was in music. At a very early age, he mastered both the piano and organ. Just how good was he? While still in college, he was playing for and with the legendary Vladimir Horowitz. After graduating from Northwestern University, he brought his love for music and his eye for business back to Tennessee. In less than 10 years, Robinson built an 8-station chain across 3 different states called the Dixie Network.
WENK, Union City.
The Robinson-Dixie Network stations were known for major market professionalism in their smaller market operations. Always focused on local news and community events, the stations and their people were well known, respected for, and expected to lead the way in civic awareness and contributions. And now we are proud to welcome Aaron Robinson into the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame. Charlie Scott always had a nose for news. And in every sense of the word, he was a true journalist. He lived through and reported the entire civil rights movement. Sit-ins and all. Serial killers? Check. He covered those. The 24 hostage standoff at the Tennessee State Prison? Charlie was there, start to finish. Hundreds of trials and literally thousands of stories, both good and bad. And he took his audience and the younger reporters who learned from him every step of the way.
That he was so much more than a colleague. He was a dear friend. I grew to adore him. One of the reasons why I not only adored him, but I respected him was his integrity and his intelligence. And he believed fundamentally that one of the reasons why we exist is to inform people, and inform people in a way that is compassionate and that is kind and that is accurate.
For over 40 years, Charlie worked at WSIX Radio and their sister TV station. Plus, he was a walking encyclopedia of Middle Tennessee history. He may have officially retired from day-to-day work in 2010, but he never really stopped. He continued mentoring younger journalists and was a founding member of the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame and remained active on our board until his death. When you're talking about Cal Young Jr., the words visionary pioneer are used a lot. I mean a lot. Like so many, Cal's early radio career was interrupted by World War II. Serving in Armed Forces Radio directly under General George MacArthur, Young sharpened his skills in the Philippines and Japan. After returning home, Cal did the official sign-on for WMAK, but he wanted more. He wanted to own a station himself And in December of 1951, his dream came true. 1470 WSOK signed on the air, becoming the very first station in Nashville with an all-black air staff playing all-black music. Now remember the phrase visionary pioneer? Cal had a similar setup working in Tampa, Florida, and in the mid-50s, he sold both of these stations and set his eyes on the country format. In 1957, Cal fired up WENO. At that time, it became Nashville's only full-time country station. Cal was one of the first to see the importance of total promotional dominance, and dominate he did, all through Middle Tennessee and beyond. He bought and sold stations all over the country with a simple business model. Know your market, know your people, and know how to win. And now Cal Young Jr. has won his way into the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame.